like 2, 3, and negative 4, negative 7, I need to be able to write the equation of the line in any of the 3 formats. Okay? So I want to take these 2 points and I want to write it in standard form, ax plus by equals c. I also want to write it in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And I also want to write it in point-slope form, y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1. Okay? So what's the first thing I have to do? What do you think, Caitlin?
Find the slope.
Find the slope. What's the formula for finding the slope?
M equals y
Sub 2.
sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1.
Okay? Does it matter which point is point 1?
No.
No, doesn't matter. We learned that yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is my point 1 and this is my point 2, just so that we're all doing it the same way. And I almost always, when given 2 points, I just say, all right, the first one that's listed is my point 1, the second one that's listed is point 2. And I almost always put a little reminder to myself so that I don't mess it up. Okay, so now I'm going to plug it in. To solve for slope, I'm going to say my y2 value. Well, that's my 0.2y value, which is a negative 7. My formula says minus, and then I have my y1 value, which is the 3. Divided by, I have a negative 4 for my x sub 2 value, minus the 2. And when I subtract, I get negative 7 minus 3. Well, negative 7 minus 3 is really negative 7 plus a negative 3, which gives me a negative 10. And negative 4 minus 2 is really negative 4 plus a negative 2, which gives me a negative 6. And of course, I want to simplify it. And a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And they both share what? What do they have in common?
2.
They have a 2. So this is really 2 times 5, and this is really 2 times 6. So,
3.
Sorry, 3. You can correct me. Okay, and so my fraction in simplified form is 5/3. And we know 5/3 to be 1 and 2/3 if we had to put it on a number line, right? Okay, so now I've got a slope. Now what? Can I write one of these equations?
No.
I think I might be able to.
Yes.
Which one could I write right now? What do you think, Aaron?
The y-intercept?
The y-intercept. This one?
Yeah.
Slope-intercept?
Slope-intercept.
Do I have a b? I have an m. But in order to write it in this form, I also need a b. Do I have a b? No. So I can't actually do this form yet. What form could I do? Tessa?
With slope form.
I can use the point slope form. I can say, all right, I've got my slope and I've got a point. Look, I've got 2 points. I can choose either one. Okay? So in order to write it in the point slope form, and usually when I'm doing it, and I have to do multiple things and multiple steps, I make sure that I tell what it is that I'm doing. So right now I'm doing point slope form. I'm going to write my equation one more time because I always like to remind myself to make sure I get it right. And then there's actually 2 answers for this because I've given 2 points. And the reality is if I graph this line, there's infinite number of ways to write the equation in this line. But I'm going to use one of these points, okay, and the slope. So I'm going to choose my point 1, and I'm going to say y minus, and what am I supposed to put in? Hunter?
Supposed to put in 3.
The 3 equals, and my slope is 5/3, x minus, Hunter?
2.
2. That's one of the equations of this line. But what's my other one? What do you think, Aditi? If I used point 2, what would my equation be?
Y plus 7 equals 5/3 times the quantity of x plus 4.
Good. So there's point slope form. Got 2 equations. Okay? Now, I'm done with this guy. I've done him. But I still have to do slope intercept, and I still have to do standard form. Which one should I do first? What do you think, Hunter?
Slope-intercept.
Slope-intercept. What do you want me to do next?
Find the b.
Find the b. So, you guys, I'm going to change the page. You have to help me remember the points. So the points were 2, 3, and
-4,
and my slope that we solved for was 5/3. Okay, so I got that. What do? I want to put it in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. What am I going to do?
You have to solve for b.
Solve for b. How? What am I going to plug in?
You have to plug in one of the points.
Which one would you like to use?
The first one.
Okay, go.
So it would be 3 equals 5/3 times 2 plus b.
Okay, and now I'm going to combine. And so I have to solve my fraction first. I have 3 equals 10/3 plus b. Now to get my 10/3 to the other side, I'm going to subtract 10/3. And I'm going to do it from both sides. And I have 3 plus negative 10/3. So I need a common denominator. So over here, I'm going to do my work, and I'm going to say negative 10/3 plus 3 over 1, which is really negative 10/3 plus 9 over 3. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And negative 10 plus 9 is? Negative 1/3. So I have a negative 1/3 is equal to b. Now what?
Box your answer.
No, I just got a b. Do I have it in slope-intercept form?
No, but
Damn.
it's an answer.
I can now plug it in. So I have y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to remind myself that I'm solving for slope-intercept form so that I can find it on my paper, and more importantly, my teacher can find it on my paper. Okay, and what am I going to plug in to write it in this form, Kerouac?
You're gonna plug in the slope.
Okay.
Which is 10/3. Oh, I'm sorry.
Slope is
Slope is 5/3.
5/3.
And then x plus negative 1/3.
Missing a key
Equals
ingredient equals y. Okay, and there's my slope-intercept form. Now what? I got one last format to do. What is it? Standard. So I want to do standard. So what do? Tyler, what do?
First you have to the thing. Ax plus bx equals c.
by. Okay, now what?
Then you get what x is and y is.
Okay, what do you want me to write? Want some help?
Yes.
Emma, do you know? Either Emma? Either one? Either of you know?
You plug in a point for x and y.
Okay, why? Do I need it? I got all these numbers. What does it mean to, how do I get this thing right here to go to standard form? What's different from this slope-intercept to standard form? What's the difference? What do you think, Alexa?
You have to get x on the.
You have to put the x on the other side. So if you look at this, the y is the only thing over here, but in my standard form, I need the x and the y over here. So I'm going to take my slope-intercept form, and I'm going to say, hey, I want to move the x. So if I want to move this x, what am I really doing to it? Adding a negative 5/3. So I end up with negative 5/3 x plus y equals negative 1/3. Oh, look. That's a funny 3. There we go. Oh, look. You have x and y's on one side and my c on the other side. What's wrong with it? DT. There's a fraction. So how do I get rid of my fraction? Multiply, not by the reciprocal, because I don't want a 1. I just want my fraction gone. by the denominator. So my denominator is 3. So if I distribute a 3 to each of these pieces, I'm left with a negative 5x plus a 3y equals a negative 1. And this, and this now is my standard form. Okay? Make sense?